Hello and welcome to the final presentation of the NSG Patient Anatomy app. My name is Mariam El-Younis and I'm part of the DevOps team with my partner Rebecca Velez. The other team members are Ekin Atai, Matt Baker, and Emily Olson, who are part of the front-end back-end team. In this presentation, we'll be going over the project walkthrough and the individual responsibilities. The DevOps team worked on creating two Docker files. Each of them was for the front end, and the other one was for the back end. We took these two Docker files and we ran them, which created an image, and the images were used to create two different Docker files. And this is the two Docker files that appear on the Docker desktop. And once we run the command through Docker compose up, which I created to compile the images and make the commands, once we run that, this is how the app appears using the web browser. Next, we use the images to in the manifest file, which is used to create deployments and services. And then I'd like to go over how the Docker file were created. The Docker file .front end it starts off by containing the base image. It starts off with the node 16 as the base image, 16 Alpine as the base image, and it sets the working directory to this file. And then it copies the contents from this file into the working directory. And then it runs this command, and this is to install npm on there using packages.json. And then it uses this command npm start, and this command is to start the front-end server. For the backend Docker file, it starts off with Python version 3.10 as the base image, and then it sets the working directory to this file path, and then it copies requirements.txt into the working directory. It runs two different commands. The first one is to install and upgrade these packages, pip, wheel, and setup. And then it runs the second one, which is to install the packages that are inside requirements.txt, which are needed for running the application. Then it copies the contents of this folder into the working directory. And then here, this command is to run the server and run the backend server. Now I'd like to show you how the manifest file was created. So the manifest file is a Kubernetes file, which helps us in making deployments and services. And here, in namespace, it creates a namespace named app, and this is the first object that we made here. Then we have the deployment object, and the deployment object here specifies the desired state of the application's pod, and it manages their creation and scaling. We have the deployment named my app, and it only has one single replica. The selector field here specifies which pod the deployment manages, and based on their labels, the template field here defines the pod template that the deployment creates and manages. And the pod template has two containers, the backend and the front end, with their ports. And with their ports, the image field specifies the container's image to use, and the image pull policy field specifies when to pull the image. And here in our case, it's never, and the ports are 8,000 for the back end and 3,000 for the front end. Then for the service object, here the service object defines a stable network endpoint to access the deployments pod. The service is named app services, and it targets the my app deployment and the app namespace. The selector field here it specifies the port number to use for the service, and the target field specifies the port number the pod listens on. And we used a load balancer as well. This is so far the YAML file allows developers to define the desired state of the application or the infrastructure, and it automates its deployment and management. And I'd like to show you as the final part of the presentation for the DevOps. Once we run the pod and the YAML file, we create our pod. This is how it is shown in the Kubernetes. The app is the name of the namespace, and this is the CPU usage and the memory storage, and it's used. We're running it through Minikube, and this is all done locally so far, and we have not done it through Kubernetes, like on the cloud yet. We only have done it locally. And next up is Matt.
Hi there, my name is James Baker, and I'll be showing you guys a little bit around the app that we've been working on for the past semester. So let me escape out of this, head over to our app. So here you can see that I think, as I've shown in our last presentation, but I'll give you a refresher. Here's the kind of the meat of the project, in that we have a Unity context here that has a brain scan for a particular patient. We're still working on giving a little more of the Unity functionality, and so we'll continue to work on that through the end of the semester. However, as a refresher, we've actually completely redone a lot of the UI elements, including this nav bar here at the top. This now properly scales with the window, which I will go ahead and demonstrate that. So see, it's scaling properly. And so if I stretch it, it goes. It used to not do that. So let me maximize this yet again. And as you saw, all the other UI elements do that. We've also added this UF logo, this category select here. The idea behind this is that you can select different sections of the brain, and then once you've selected it, then you can change this opacity slider to, change the opacity of it, which gives an effect of highlighting a particular region that is selected. These buttons are designed to zoom. They don't currently work at the moment, so that's something that we're still working on and we'll continue to work on through the rest of the semester. I'll also show you the login pages. The buttons do work, it's just faster for me to navigate this way. So here's our login page, and you can see that you can enter an email address, password. Remember, this currently does not work. However, we have it set up so that it does actually write to, or this, the sign up page will actually write. So this is what the login page looks like. And this little sign in button, I think, is a nice little touch where it's orange until you highlight over it, which turns blue, kind of UF themed. And then if we we will go to the page, and here's our sign up page again. The idea here is that I can put like my name in, and I'll put my email address, and I'll just put a quick password. And currently this actually downloads, you can see down here, it just downloads the saved data that's inside here. The idea is that we would actually want to send this to database and then check if this is in the database over on the login page, which would then take you to a like a home screen where you can select what like brain scan for what patient you would actually like to use. Mine doesn't work at the moment because I think there's an issue with the like the operating systems. It works fine on other teammates' computers, like on Macs and even on Linux. For some reason, that screen isn't working on Windows, so I'm not going to show it. But from there, it would then take you to here, and it would load the brain scan. So that is kind of the overall arching view of the project that we've done. And before the semester is up, hopefully we can get this opacity to work, and we'll actually get that login done, and maybe a couple of other small UI changes. But I think the bulk of the UI changes have been completed for these purposes. And now I think I'm going to pass it back to Emily for talking about some of our contributions and what we've all done. So
in this part, we will discuss the individual responsibilities of each team. For the front and back end team, we have completed the following tasks. We designed wireframes, which give us a visual representation of what we wanted to change or add to the UI. We presented these wireframes to our advisor and changed them based on their feedback. We also integrated Unity with React to add new functionality, such as zooming features to view the brain in different areas.
Additionally, we've updated the user interface to add a more polished and complete look, and added a new color theme to provide a consistent aesthetic from one page to the next. As well, we've worked on enabling highlighting by the user, highlighting of sections, and also added a drop-down list for the user to be able to select previously highlighted sections. We've also improved zooming from the previous versions.
Hello, my name is Rebecca, and I am one half of the development and operations team along with Miriam. So to go over our responsibilities, these are the tasks that we completed throughout the course of this semester. So first off, we reviewed how to host our project on AWS, and we also worked on configuring AWS EC2 EKS instances in Terraform. Unfortunately, we were not able to actually host it on AWS due to some budgetary restrictions within the grant, but we were able to create multiple Docker files that would actually build images. We then decided that we should try to do something with a Kubernetes cluster. So we updated the Docker file to be one continuous file and to be able to produce one single image. Then we ensured that everybody on the team could actually use the Docker to create the Docker container. And then finally, we worked on developing a Kubernetes configuration file to build the Kubernetes cluster. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you.